At 5:42 on a rain-dark Tuesday morning, Dana Hale walked into St. Arden's Hospital and found two security officers waiting beside a printed medication report. Her name was on it. The report said she had administered a concentrated heart drug to Robert Vale at 1:46 a.m. The dose had sent him into cardiac arrest. Dana had not worked the night shift. She had spent the night 7 miles away at her father's flat. "Is he alive?" she asked. One officer looked towards the lifts. "Mr. Sloan will explain upstairs." In the ICU corridor, nurses stood unnaturally still. Victor Sloan, the Trust's chief operating officer, held a leather folder as though the matter had already been decided. "The electronic chart records your staff number, pass and signature," he said. "I wasn't here." "The rota shows you accepted overtime." "I was on approved leave." Sloan handed her the sheet. Her name sat between two night nurses, added so neatly it looked permanent. Robert's daughter stepped out of the unit. "Are you the nurse who gave him the wrong drug?" Dana met her frightened eyes. "No." "Then why is your name on his chart?" No one answered for her. Sloan ordered Dana suspended. Her staff pass, phone and locker key were taken while colleagues watched in silence. Dana did not argue. Anger could be written down as misconduct. Instead, she said, "Preserve the scanner, the original rota, and every edit made to that chart." Sloan closed the folder. "The technical team is handling it." A nurse brought out the medication log. Dana saw the digital signature beneath the dose. It was not merely similar to hers. It was exact. Someone had not just used her pass. They had studied how she signed her name. Dana kept her eyes on the signature until Sloan slid the report into his folder. "Locker room," one security officer said. The walk took less than a minute, but every doorway seemed occupied. A porter stopped beside a linen trolley. Two junior nurses lowered their voices. Dana knew most of them by name. That made their silence worse. Inside, she opened locker 118 and removed 14 years of ordinary things: spare shoes, peppermint tea, a service pin she had never worn. A thank you card was taped inside the door. You noticed when everyone else was busy. Dana folded it carefully. Sloan waited near the entrance. "This is precautionary." "No," she said. "It is public." He lowered his voice. 8 years ago, you missed an observation entry. You admitted you were exhausted. No patient was harmed, and I reported it myself. I'm suggesting memory under pressure can fail. Dana faced him. "I remember last night. My father fell in his kitchen. I dressed his elbow, made him soup and slept in his chair because he refused hospital care. That gives us another statement to verify. My father is not a statement." A flicker of irritation crossed Sloane's face. Maya appeared in the doorway. "Dana, I need to tell you." An HR officer stepped behind her. "Maya, handover is waiting." Maya looked at Dana, then at Sloane. "I'm sorry." She disappeared down the corridor. Dana placed the card and service pin into a paper bag. "I want a copy of my approved leave request." The HR officer searched a tablet, then frowned. "There isn't one on file." "Check the version history." "I don't have access." Sloane answered for her. "If it was never submitted, there is no history." Dana closed the locker. "You've taken my pass, copied my signature, rewritten the rota, and now my leave has vanished." "Those are serious allegations," Sloane said. "So is nearly killing a man." From the corridor, Maya's voice rose sharply. "That is not the rota I signed." Maya's words cut through the corridor. Sloane turned. "Return to your ward." She stayed where she was. "The rota I signed had Dana on leave. I was meant to cover Bay 4 with agency support." The HR officer checked her tablet. The current rota shows otherwise. Then it's been changed. Dana stepped between Maya and Sloane. Do not question her here. I'm establishing facts, Sloane said. Executive suite. Now. The conference room overlooked the rain-slicked car park. A trust solicitor sat beside HR with 2 folders already open. On the screen was a revised rota and an electronic form stating Dana had accepted overtime at 4:17 p.m. Dana leaned towards it. Show the device used. That is being reviewed, the solicitor said. The IP address? Also under review. The original version history? Sloane folded his hands. You are not conducting this meeting. Dana studied the acknowledgement. Her name appeared beneath a tick box she had never touched. I did not accept that shift. Sloane slid another page across the table. During your earlier conversation, you mentioned fatigue and uncertainty. I said I slept badly at my father's flat. The note records that you may have confused dates. Dana read the line twice. It was already marked as her statement. You wrote this after I denied being here. It is a summary. It is fiction. Outside the glass wall, staff phones began lighting up. Maya read the hospital alert first, then looked at Dana. The notice referred to an individual clinical error and possible impairment due to fatigue. No name appeared. It did not need one. Dana turned back to Sloane. You are not investigating what happened. His expression remained smooth. She tapped the false statement. You are building what happened. Sloane's eyes settled on Dana's hand. Remove it from the document. She did, slowly. The solicitor closed the folder. You will receive copies through the formal process. A knock came at the glass door. The HR officer stepped in carrying a sealed white envelope. Replacement pass, she said. Temporary access only, pending review. Dana looked at her. You suspended me. It allows escorted entry for meetings. The envelope had been printed that morning. Beneath Dana's name was a long chip serial number. She tore it open and studied the new pass. Something tightened behind her ribs. Show me the medication scanner report again. Sloane remained seated. Why? Because the credential number on it wasn't mine. The room changed. Not visibly. Not enough for anyone outside the glass to notice. But the solicitor stopped reaching for her pen, and Sloane's expression lost its rehearsed patience. Dana repeated the last 6 digits from memory. The HR officer checked the envelope. They did not match. Replacement cards use new numbers, Sloane said. That report listed an older generation prefix. You cannot be certain from a brief glance. I check controlled drug credentials every shift. Dr. Lena Park entered without knocking, still wearing gloves from the unit. What is this about? Dana handed her the pass. The scanner didn't read my active badge. It read an older credential. Lena crossed to the wall terminal and opened the audit summary. Most of the serial was masked, but the device code remained visible. She frowned. That isn't a standard bedside reader. What is it? Dana asked. A portable maintenance emulator? The solicitor stood. That could be a system classification error. Then preserve the device log, Dana said. The HR officer reached for the envelope. I need that back. Dana placed it beneath the conference room camera instead. No, she said. First record the serial number. Then record that you tried to remove the first physical contradiction in your own evidence. Behind the glass, Maya had stopped in the corridor. Sloane followed Dana's gaze and pressed the blinds closed. The blinds settled, cutting the conference room off from the corridor. Sloane placed a document in front of Dana. This is a voluntary resignation agreement, he said. You accept a single medication error caused by fatigue, and the trust will not refer the matter to the police. Dana read the first page. Her pension would be partially protected. Her nursing registration would still be reviewed, but the hospital would describe the incident as isolated human error rather than gross misconduct. And if I refuse? The Trust will pursue every available sanction. The solicitor spoke gently, as if kindness could soften the threat. You should also consider your father's care arrangements. A prolonged investigation can become expensive. Dana looked up. Leave him out of this. Sloane slid a pen across the table. Then make the sensible choice. For one dangerous moment, she imagined signing. The headlines would fade. Her father would not be questioned. She might keep enough of her pension to start again somewhere smaller. Outside, camera crews had begun gathering beyond the hospital entrance. Someone had leaked the allegation before she had even been interviewed. Dana lifted the pen. The door opened. Lena stepped inside carrying a laboratory sheet. Her face was pale with anger. Robert Vale's blood results have been rechecked, she said. The drug batch in his system does not match the batch recorded on the electronic chart. Sloane stood. That sheet is confidential. It is clinical evidence. Lena placed it beside the resignation form. 2 batch numbers sat inches apart. They were completely different. Dana set the pen down. Sloane closed the door behind Lena and turned the lock. That document, he said quietly, was never supposed to leave intensive care. From the other side of the blinds came 3 soft knocks. Then a man's voice said, I saw who used her badge. Sloane unlocked the door before anyone else could move. Calvin Reed stood outside in his porter's uniform, one hand still raised from knocking. Rain darkened the shoulders of his jacket, though he worked indoors. You should be on the loading bay, Sloane said. I was, Calvin replied. That is why I saw him. The solicitor gathered the papers. This is not the place for informal statements. Calvin looked past her to Dana. Night of the incident, 1:32. Medication corridor. Temporary technician wearing your old pass. Dana felt the room narrow. My old pass was destroyed. No, Calvin said. It was clipped to a blue holder, cracked through the corner. I carried the disposal box myself when they said it had failed. Lena stepped closer. Who was wearing it? Owen Pike, systems contractor. Sloane gave a tired sigh. Mr. Reed is a porter. He is not trained to identify access equipment. I read names, Calvin said. Doesn't need training. Why did you wait until now? Calvin's jaw tightened. My supervisor told me I had not seen anything, said my contract review was next month. Dana noticed how carefully he avoided looking at Sloane. Do you have proof? She asked. Calvin reached into his pocket and unfolded a creased cleaning checklist. Beside the 1:30 corridor entry he had written, Tech in clinical area, Dana H. badge. Sloane glanced at it. A handwritten note proves nothing. It proves I wrote it before the story changed, Calvin said. The words landed harder than he seemed to expect. Dana did not push him. Will you repeat this formally? Calvin looked towards the locked blinds, then at the resignation form still lying beside the mismatched batch report. Yes, he said, but there is more. He turned towards the corridor. The cameras did not fail. Someone deleted the footage after morning handover. Sloane moved between him and the door. Calvin's expression sharpened. And I know where the system kept a copy. Calvin stepped around Sloane and led Dana, Lena, and Maya through the service corridor. The security archive sat behind the hospital laundry, a windowless room humming with old servers. Calvin swiped his porter pass. Red light. He tried again. Access revoked, he said. Lena used her consultant override. The lock clicked. Inside, rows of camera feeds filled the wall. Most showed empty corridors. The footage from the medication wing had been replaced by grey error screens, each marked File Corrupted. Sloane remained at the doorway. You are interfering with protected systems. Dana ignored him. Calvin said there was a copy. Not a recording, Calvin said. Thumbnail cache. The system creates still images before it writes the video. He opened a maintenance panel and found a hidden diagnostics menu. Small frozen frames appeared, one every 30 seconds. At 1:31, Owen Pike stood outside the medication room in pale scrubs beneath a contractor's jacket. A cracked blue badge holder was clipped to his chest. Maya covered her mouth. That's Dana's old pass. The next frame showed Owen entering the room. Lena opened the access log beside it. Dana's credentials had opened the medication cabinet at 1:32. At the same minute, the same credentials appeared on a lift reader 2 floors below. That is impossible, Maya said. Not if the identity was copied, Dana replied. They pulled more records. Dana's car had left the staff car park at 5:03 the previous evening and had not returned. The pharmacy inventory showed the concentrated vial came from a locked reserve cabinet, not the bedside stock listed on Robert's chart. Then Maya found the original rota in a cached attachment. Her name was on ICU. Dana was marked annual leave. In the revised version, Maya had been moved to another ward and Dana inserted in her place. Lena looked at Sloane. You left intense. I've care short-staffed. He stepped into the room. Close the system. The screens suddenly flickered. One by one, the cached images began disappearing. Remote deletion in progress. Calvin reached for the server cable. The archive door slammed shut behind them. Calvin pulled the server cable free. The deletion counter froze at 63%. Local drive, he said. There'll be fragments. Dana seized the nearest portable backup unit while Lena struck the emergency release beside the door. Nothing happened. Outside, Sloane's voice came through the intercom. Step away from the equipment. The board hearing has begun. Maya stared at the darkened camera feeds. He's presenting before we can speak. Lena removed the plastic cover from the alarm panel and pressed the manual fire override. A siren burst through the archive room. The magnetic lock released. They ran. The hearing chamber was 2 corridors away beyond the main atrium. Dana carried the backup drive against her chest, while Calvin pushed through staff gathering around the alarm. Through the glass doors ahead, she could already see Robert Vale's daughter seated in the public gallery. Sloane stood before the board beneath a projected image of Dana's medication record. An isolated act of clinical negligence, he was saying, should not be allowed to damage confidence in the trust as a whole. Dana entered through the rear doors. Then stop calling it isolated. Every head turned. Sloane's face tightened. This is a closed disciplinary session. Robert's daughter stood. You invited the press. 3 local reporters were seated along the wall. Dana walked to the front table and placed the backup drive beside the microphone. I want my response entered into the record. The board chair looked to the trust solicitor. Is she entitled to speak? She has been suspended, Sloane said. That was not the question, the chair replied. Dana connected the drive. The first recovered image filled the screen. Owen Pike outside the medication room, Dana's cracked blue badge clipped to his chest. A murmur spread across the room. Sloane recovered quickly. A blurred image proves only that a contractor was present. Dana displayed the access logs. My credentials opened the drug cabinet and a lift 2 floors below in the same minute. Next came the car park record, then the original rota, then the mismatched medication batch. Each file contradicted the one before it. Sloane began offering explanations, but they no longer fitted together. Robert's daughter looked at Dana. Where were you that night? At my father's flat, Dana said, but my alibi only proves where I was. These records show who changed the story. Calvin opened the final recovered thumbnail. Owen Pike's face appeared clearly on the screen. He was looking straight into the corridor camera, and beside him stood Victor Sloane. The room went silent. On the screen, Victor Sloan stood beside Owen Pike outside the medication room at 1:31 a.m. His face was turned towards the camera, one hand resting on the contractor's shoulder. The board chair looked at him. "You said you were not in the clinical wing that night." Sloan did not answer. The rear doors opened. 2 security officers brought Owen into the chamber. He looked smaller than Dana remembered from the still image, his contractor's jacket zipped to the throat. Sloan found his voice first. "Mr. Pike acted without authorization." Owen stared at him. "You told me the badge would only open the system." Dana placed the cloned access report on the table. "Whose idea was it to use my old credentials?" Owen looked towards the press, then at Robert's daughter. "The ward was short-staffed," he said. "Mr. Sloan said the trust could not afford another agency nurse. He wanted me to update medication records until cover arrived." "You were not clinically qualified," Lena said. "I told him that." Sloan stepped forward. "He is protecting himself." Owen pulled a folded contract from his pocket. "Then explain this." The final page carried Sloan's executive approval for temporary access to patient systems. Beside it was an indemnity clause promising the contractor legal protection for actions taken under management instruction. Dana read the date aloud. It had been signed 3 days before the incident. Owen's voice shook. "The concentrated vial was in the wrong cabinet. I scanned it with the cloned pass. When Mr. Vale collapsed, Sloan told me to leave." "And my records?" Dana asked. "He linked the badge to your live profile. Then he deleted your leave request and replaced the rota." Maya closed her eyes. The board chair turned to Sloan. "Why Dana Hale?" Owen answered before he could. "Because she filed the unsafe staffing complaint." Into Sloan's composure broke. She had already made herself a problem. The microphone carried the sentence to every speaker in the room. Robert's daughter stood slowly. "You blamed the nurse who warned you?" No one defended him. Sloan backed towards the side door. The board chair said, "Remain where you are." He reached for the handle anyway. Security blocked it. Dana looked at the screen still showing her copied signature. For the first time that morning, it no longer looked like evidence against her. It looked like evidence against the man who had made it. Security took Sloan's phone and escorted him from the hearing chamber, while the board ordered an external investigation into the altered records, contractor access, and staffing decisions. No one applauded. Dana preferred it that way. Robert Vale's daughter crossed the room slowly. "I believed them." "You believed the official version," Dana said. "That is what it was designed for." "Is my dad going to recover?" Lena joined them. "He is responding to treatment. We need time, but the signs are better." The woman nodded, then looked at Dana. "I'm sorry." Dana accepted the words without making her carry more guilt than she already had. By late afternoon, regulators had secured the servers, original rota files and medication devices. Calvin's handwritten checklist was entered into evidence. Maya gave a formal statement about the missing agency cover. Owen agreed to cooperate in exchange for his full account being recorded without alteration. The board offered Dana immediate reinstatement. She remained standing. "Not yet." The chair looked surprised. "Your suspension has been lifted." "That corrects my access. It does not correct what you told the staff, the patient's family, or the press." Dana placed the false medication report on the table. "I want a written notice sent to every employee, regulator, and family contacted this morning. It must state that I was not on duty. My credentials were cloned, and the trust altered its records." The chair glanced at the solicitor. Dana added, "No phrases like procedural uncertainty. Use plain English." At 6:12 p.m., every hospital computer displayed the same message. Dana Hale was not present during the night shift. Evidence identifying her was falsified. Staff gathered quietly outside intensive care as she returned. Maya handed back her restored pass. Dana clipped it to her uniform, then walked to Robert's ruse. "Gimme." His eyes opened briefly when she entered. "You missed your shift," he murmured. She smiled for the first time that day. "So I'm told." At the ward entrance, Dana held her pass to the scanner. The light turned green. This time the record did not decide the truth. It was forced to tell it.